Great time at Sevilla, brilliant.
Yeah.
That got him the move to PSG. Even though he won the treble at PSG, he gets quite a lot of criticism for his time at PSG. There's a lot of people that said that his style of management didn't suit the superstar players like Neymar, like Cavani, that he had at PSG. What does he say? You know, what does the book tell us about that? Mbappe, you know, all these superstar players. And we're always like looking at it and thinking it's strange because, as I said, they won the treble, but they ultimately got rid of him because it looked like him and the players didn't get on.
Yeah, that's very interesting because when he came to Paris, the squad lose Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who was the king, really. Not only on the pitch, but off the pitch. He was the man who controls everything. For example, if a player were lazy, Zlatan saying, you great champion, you don't train well, this kind of thing. So the youngster had to train well. For example, he told once, he puts him a snap, that's the correct word, saying, keep that way, no massage, no bathroom, no nothing, eat kebab, see, that way, you will play like me. And, so when he leaves, in the dressing room, there was no boss.
Yeah.
And David Luiz also leaves, big loss for dressing room. So he took the team, and Monaco that year was amazing. Do you remember? They made semi-final of Champions League, they went on Manchester City, Falcao, Mbappe, all this thing. So Monaco went champion with, I think it was one of the best team on French football ever. And Paris, in the second part of the season, started to play really well without big stars. They played a 4-3-3, but not only controlling the ball, not only keep the ball, but moving forward, this thing. And the second year, of course, Neymar and Mbappe. For Mbappe, for example, it was in August. And I told you, Unai is not the guy, he's not speaking with agents. Sometimes he spoke with agents, but he's not the guy who... I mean, it's quite different from the view of manager in England, for example, the Allardyce, Redknapp style. It's quite the opposite. So he went to the house of the family of Mbappe. And he sat in the kitchen with the player, with Kylian, talking 2 or 3 hours only about football. And Kylian asked him, how can I be the best player in the world? And so they only talking about football. Of course, the Mbappe wanted to go to Paris, but this chat has a real importance. He had a good relationship with Mbappe and with Cavani also. With Neymar, it was more complicated at the beginning. And for me, there's a very important fact. Lucas Moura, who is now Tottenham, the winger, is a good friend of Neymar, a really, really good friend, one of his best friends of football. And at the end of last season, Unai told him, well, I don't think you will play a lot next season. So if you have another club, maybe it will be better for you. Which I found is honest because he says face to face. There's a lot of managers who don't do that. Let the sporting director or saying nothing. So he told him. But the player think, well, Neymar's coming, so I will play because I'm Neymar's friend. And he didn't play because Unai thought Di Maria is better for how we're playing. So I think it's very honest. But if you want to have a good relationship with Neymar, you can think, well, if I let his best friend play, can help. So at the beginning, Neymar, for example, didn't understand that, why Lucas didn't play, this kind of thing. Neymar is someone who wants some physical contact with his manager. It's his personality, we have to respect that. And of course, Unai putting every time the team before the individuality. And in Paris, it don't suit him that philosophy because in Paris, as you can see, I mean, for God's sake, for a football player with the Eiffel Tower, we put lights on the Eiffel Tower, welcome to Neymar in Paris. Do you think, like, for example, Arsenal will do that to Big Ben, for example, welcome Lucas Torreira, I mean, welcome Mesut Ozil. I mean, it's a little bit ridiculous for me. Especially for the dressing room after that. Imagine all the other players, what they think, well, it's the way that they're doing. It means there's like Hollywood model. Okay, I understand that. But at the beginning, it was quite complicated. But after that, they started to learn to know each other, especially on the pitch, because Neymar wants to be the best. Neymar wants to win everything. So they talk a lot about that. Of course, there wasn't the best relationship with Neymar, but it wasn't that bad. I mean, they didn't hate each other. But with Mbappe and Cavani, they had quite a good relationship. The problem in Paris last year, too many players. I mean, look at the offensive player. Cavani, Neymar, Mbappe. Di Maria, Draxler, Javier Pastore, Guedes went on loan. The youngsters. So how do you play? I mean, it's necessary. There's people on the bench, and these people, for example, Draxler, the German international, sometimes was furious. All this thing, but I mean, he made a lot of turnover, like he did in Arsenal this year. As we can see, Iwobi play, Mkhitaryan play, Welbeck play, each player play. It was complicated dressing room last year.
He didn't get on too well with Thiago Silva either.
No, with Thiago Silva, no. Yeah.
According to the book, Thiago Silva is a captain of the team. Big figure. He didn't get on too well with him either, did he?
I will give you an anecdote. I know quite a players in Paris, employees. I think Thiago Silva has a bad reputation with everyone. It's amazing.
That's surprising because
tremendous player.
I've always thought he's like a real leader.
Definitely not.
No?
Definitely not.
It's very
selfish. It's very selfish. You can just ask the former players who play with him. He's not a guy we really liked. I mean, everyone likes this defender, amazing defender. But I will give you an anecdote. Against Real Madrid, so in Champions League, the away game. The last days before the game, training as usual, very intense, and no one known the team. The morning, so in Madrid, in the hotel, when I went to the room of Thiago Silva saying, "You will be benched tonight," and explain why. And 2 hours later, in L'Équipe, with the sports newspaper in France, Thiago Silva on the bench. So my question is, there's only 2 people who know that. Unai Emery and Thiago Silva. How do you explain the leak? You captain the team. You can't do that. I mean, not you directly, but I know it is. But close to him. And it was very, in the dressing room, a lot of players were furious about that, So he puts a youngster, Presnel Kimpembe, 21 years old, started in Real Madrid, with Giovanni Lo Celso, another real young player, Argentinian, as defensive midfielder. And this guy is not a defensive midfielder. He's an offensive midfielder. He's playing now at Betis. Tremendous player. And I mean, it's like a poker game. It's like, well, people can criticize me, but Paris played well last year, honestly. And I don't say that because I wrote this book. You can ask so many French people. Paris played very bad this year, collectively. Last year they were a little bit better because they play more as a team. And well, he puts that the 2 youngsters at Santiago Bernabeu. Okay, they lose 3-1. They made a good game. 1-1 at all the game in the last 10 minutes. 2 mistakes. They conceded 2 goals. But I think it showed that Unai's, sorry for the expression, but has some balls. Because it's far easier to put the captain starter. Bench your captain in the biggest game of the season to put 2 youngsters. So really? Maybe it tells a little bit more about his management, and he's not afraid to bench people.
Yeah, and that's very interesting because we get to Arsenal now, right? And
definitely.
One of the players that it seems like he's not messed around with is a player that, again, I don't know because, we're behind the scenes as fans.
Definitely.
We're not behind the scenes as fans, but Mesut Ozil, over the years, seems to have quite an easy ride under Arsene Wenger. He's always the main man, always plays. Under Emery, he's left him out already this season. He's benched him. He's took him off. There was a game against Crystal Palace where he took him off. Ozil didn't look too happy about being taken off. He's not as scared to even the big players, the big egos. He's not scared to say, off you come, is he?
Definitely. It's great what you tell about Ozil and his reaction because Unai loves that kind of reaction. Maybe it sounds weird, but he told me, if the player is not furious to get out, to not playing, it seems that he's not implicated in the team. They don't care. If a player is furious to be on the bench and his only will is, I want to be on the pitch to prove to everyone I'm better, I have to play. That's a good mentality for me. To be better than the other, not to say, I don't care. So
do you think his style and what you've described so far, that this style is perfectly suited to the players of Arsenal that, we all know they're good players but have underachieved over the past few years, that his style is perfect for them? No nonsense style you're describing. That's what you're describing. He's a no-nonsense manager.
I think. And the interesting fact...
And a tactician as well.
Definitely. Interesting fact is that in Paris, for me, it wasn't the real Unai Emery because it wasn't only about coaching. It's not very about coaching in PSG. In Ligue 1, but the French Championship is very low. So he didn't have to do some coaching stuff, only managing the egos and all this thing. And I don't think it was the real Unai Emery. I think he learns a lot there, especially how to deal with big egos and also with a club. We have it's a complicated club. It's a great club. I mean, it's a huge club, PSG. Huge fans, magnificent stadium. But God, it's complicated. Oh God, it's complicated. Of all the managers, and Carlo Ancelotti, Laurent Blanc, and Thomas Tuchel. In Arsenal, I think is more suited to Arsenal than PSG. And I think it's great also for PSG because I think now the actual coach is more suited to the players because he's more maybe friends with the players. I won't say Unai is not friends with players, but he puts a cross, a barrier in front. I don't know the word in English.
Yeah, so he's got like a barrier. He's
he's close to them.
He's close to them, but I'm the coach, and you know what I mean. I'm not your friend. I'm not here to be your friend. I'm in charge. I'm the coach, and I'm not here to be your mate. But
that's why his coaching staff is important because his coaching staff are closer to the players. That's normal. And
his coaching staff don't mess about either, though. I mean, we see
Juan Carlos Caicedo.
Yeah, Juan Carlos. He's always on the touchline, and he seems a right terrier. He does.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the former kitman of PSG told me his coaching staff is like the A team. Yeah, and because they are all very different, and out of the pitch, they are all very shy people. Caicedo, I met him in Paris with his wife. His wife is full of energy. She speaks a little louder, but him, quiet guy.
He don't look quiet on the touchline. He doesn't stop. It's like the two of them. Like one's up having a go, then that one sits down, and the other one gets up, and they're having a go. They're like. If you're a player, you're like, gosh, don't they ever stop?
Yeah, definitely. It's good cup, bad cup sometimes. And you don't know the second assistant, Pablo Villa, is worst. The general, they nickname it, because Villa is more than shy. And on the training ground, the kitman told me, oh man, Cavani told me the same. Transformation, Hulk, like his doctor, and his little guy, you say, like a typical Spanish father, very quiet. On the training ground, a beast. He shoots, very intense because they want intensity every time. But it's very interesting the fact with Caicedo because normally there's a manager and his assistant. In that case, it's more than assistant because Caicedo sometimes it's him on the touchline who say to the players what you have to do. So it's like a manager and second manager. It's more important than assistant. They're also friends. They know them when they were playing in second division in Spain at Leganés. They went to university together sometimes when they were playing. And also it's very, very funny. They're fond of football, really. Unai, when he was player, he bought all the newspaper. And the Monday, he was telling all his partners, did you see this team lose? Did you see this player scores? But of all the division in Spain. And so they were living in Madrid. They played in Leganés. And I don't remember the guy, but Real Madrid signed a player. And Unai and Caicedo finished their training, and the second they finish the training, they go into the car, go to the Real Madrid training, hiding, in the bush, just to see the training of Real Madrid with the new player. I mean, they were professional players.
Yeah.
They were so passionate. For example, they play the Sunday. The Saturday, they will watch a game. So it's very interesting the relation they build together, especially the psychological aspects, because they debate a lot about that.
When he first came to Arsenal, there was this big thing that Ivan Gazidis spoke about, that he had, what really impressed him is that he had this dossier on every single Arsenal player, everyone. Is that true?
Yeah, and well, I will tell you, in Valencia, when he was interviewed for the job, so there was the sporting director, Juan Sanchez, and the president. And Unai did the same, with all the players saying, well, I think this player has to work on this, his weakness, everything. So after the meeting, the president and the sporting director is saying, well, I think this guy knows better the team than we do. And he wasn't at the club. So he did it for all club he went. He's
meticulous, isn't he?
And he's mad at football. He loves that. It's
crazy about football.
Oh, he's crazy about football. I tell, his nickname during his younger years as manager was El Enfermo de Fútbol, which means enfermo is like someone who has a disease, for football in that way. And as one of his former players says, Laurent de Palmas, French player, fullback, Almeria, he told me, with the players sometimes we fucked. Well, this guy breathes football. He hears football. He sleeps football. Maybe he fucks football, But he wasn't that laughing. He was serious telling me that. He was football. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, listen, can he bring success to Arsenal, in your opinion, in all the things that you've learnt about him in writing this book, in all the things that players have told you, the over 50 players that you've interviewed for this book, can he bring success to Arsenal? Because as Arsenal fans, that's what we crave, that's what we want. We've liked what we've seen so far. But is he the guy that's going to bring us back to where we need to be?
I think Arsenal, the board and the sporting direction needs to evaluate to get better also. It's not only about the head coach, but more about everything. I think definitely can, because I won't say Unai Emery is the greatest manager, it's not my point. But obviously this man has a lot of success everywhere he went, except in Russia. In Paris, it wasn't that bad, it wasn't that good, but he was correct. He has weakness. For me, one of his biggest weakness is that he's so passionate with football, he's so in love with football, that if his player are not, can be a trouble, can be a limit. And if the player don't like to work, not only work, but think to, I can get better. Think at, maybe I'm not the best in the world, but how can I do that? So if the players are not that kind of mentality, it can be complicated. It was complicated with several in Paris, as Thiago Silva. He's a marvelous player again, but he wasn't the kind of guy to adapt, to change a little bit. When I wanted, for example, for Thiago Silva, he wanted to play, because Thiago Silva likes to be a bit deeper, wants to be higher on the pitch, and Thiago Silva has wonderful feet. So he asked him, play directly to your midfielder, not come the ball. And he didn't like take some risk. In Arsenal, there's players who are willing to learn, and that's a good fact. There's young players, and there's not superstars. So in that way, I think he's better suited for the job. And I think it will all depend on the structure of Arsenal, because in my opinion, they need some better player defensively, my opinion.
I agree.
I think everyone agree, no? But it's part of process, I think. So it depends. Now they have new structure with Raul, Stanley, maybe, and the other guy, Sven, if I'm correct.
Mislintat,
Yeah. So let's see what they can bring together. But definitely, I think, it's a massive club in England, massive fan base, everything. For the moment, he started to build something. But I think, as I told you, he has weakness. He works that hard that sometimes his player, if you're not willing to work, maybe it will be complicated. But the good thing is, for the moment, all the players can play. They have game time.
And they're all buying into it, aren't they? All the Arsenal players at the moment are buying into what he's bringing, from what we can see on the pitch.
I think the team is getting better and better. Even if the game at Crystal Palace, for example, was, for me, very poor, in my point of view. But you can see that there's a team spirit. And maybe it's more important that you have superstars. And people like Torreira can bring that kind of thing. Not only Torreira, but Nacho Monreal, Petr Cech, leaders, And also an interesting fact about Unai, when he came to Arsenal, one of his first things he did was to find the number of mobile of Santi Cazorla and ask Santi Cazorla some advice and his opinion. For me, Cazorla is an amazing player, amazing guy. What a shame what he had in injury, but he did tremendous at Villarreal and glad for him. But it also tells you about that he respects the institution. I know Unai learns about the history of Arsenal, the history, where the club was founded, all these things, the structure of all the clubs in London geographically, because he liked that, he's really passionate about also history of the club, culture of the club. As he told me once, the fans didn't expect the same thing at Sevilla, at Bilbao, at London, at Arsenal, for that. And you have also you need to learn that as a manager, because you don't only have the responsibility of your players, you have the responsibility of all the employees of the club, and also all the guys who are in love with this club. It's bigger than you. So sometimes it's a little bit like a romantic guy, football. One of the things he likes the most, it's 1 hour before the game, coming to the stadium alone, watching the architecture of the stadium, watching the people, the crowds coming in. In a way, I think it's a romantic way of seeing the football.
You said he fucks football, didn't you?
Yeah, definitely, visibly. Visibly.
Listen, it's been brilliant talking to you. The book is out now. Available at Amazon, all the normal places.
Definitely, everywhere.
It's a brilliant book. I'm going to be really cheeky and I'll see if I can get one to give away. I get one to give away. I persuaded him. I get one to give away, but it's an excellent book on Unai Emery. Every Arsenal fan, every football fan, get hold of this book because it gives you a real insight into the man that, I think is doing a fantastic job at Arsenal at the moment. And I think it's like a breath of fresh air. I think our players needed somebody like a Unai Emery. And I think, you know, him coming in after a manager has been there for 22 years, a manager's been a legendary figure at the club, and to take over and to fill those boots and to do it seamlessly the way he's done it, I think it's been really underestimated so far, the job he's done.
If I can add something, there's a lot of managers, when they come into a club, they want to destroy the past. I won't speak about a Portuguese manager in Premier League, but you see what I mean? Because he wants to do that his way.
Yeah.
And the thing with Unai is that he didn't erase the past. He tries to make it his way, but with respecting the past. And I think when you're coming after Arsene Wenger, you have to make your touch okay, but you have to respect what Arsenal is. And maybe one of his biggest achievements is when I saw the second half against Leicester. For me, that's the Arsenal I've known growing up, you know, with these legendary teams, of the Invincibles and so much more. And that's the way I think the Arsenal fans wants his team to play, you know, one touch, give the ball, pass the ball, like that, an offensive way of playing with the fullbacks, very important in this game. So in that way, I think you're right. Maybe for the moment, I think he's doing a great job, and a long way it continue for Arsenal fans and for the book.
Thank you very much. Best of luck with the book, best of success. It's a brilliant book. And listen, you can, as I said, you can check it out all the normal places, Amazon. We'll put a link in the description as well. But get the book right now. El Maestro, Unai Emery.
Hi, how you doing, everybody? This is Ian Wright. Don't forget to check out my new YouTube channel. The link is in the description. Check it out, man. It's gonna be.
Yo, what are you doing, man?
I'm sorry, Rob. I had to touch the Holy Grail mic, bro.
No, you can't do that, bro. What are you doing? You can't.
Like a rascal like that, bro.
Don't forget to check out Ian Wright's brand new YouTube channel. The link is in the description. It's going to be